The wish to be friends can be quickly...
Woo, boy! What's good? Episode 6. Let's go! Hit that subscribe button, please. Nah, bro, just hit it, bro. Like, hit that button. Hit that button. Nah, bro, I'm not gonna start until you hit the subscribe button, bro, for real. Hit the bing subscription. Da-da, let's go. Look. Episode 6 was good. In My Pew podcast. In My Pew podcast. Damn, I spit hella stuff. In My Pew podcast was good. Look, let me tell you what I learned at the barbershop. And that is, a lot of people don't actually know what a friend is. Yep, a lot of people don't actually know what a friend is. They confuse convenience with commitment. They confuse likes with faithfulness. Bro, but Aristotle, my boy, who wrote something about this very subject 2,000 years ago, still hits hard today. So the question is, what if your understanding of friendship is the reason why you're still stuck? Let's get into it. All right, so look, Nicomachean Ethics, bro, this book is hella hard to read if you never read philosophy, but read it anyway. Chapter 8 and 9, he breaks it down. 3 kinds of friendships. There's 3. The first kind of friendship, bro, that he talks about is a friendship of utility. And my translation basically from Aristotle is this, bro, like, we cool if I get something out of it. That's a friendship of utility. In other words, you're useful to me, I'm useful to you. Think about it like a barber, right? Like, a lot of interactions with my clients, and like, you know, it's not to say that we're not a friendship. There is a friendship, but the friendship is based or centered from the utility, from the usefulness that we give each other. I provide the service and they pay me for that service. So it's not like we kicking it outside, and if we were, we probably wouldn't really have much to say or to add. That's a friendship of utility. There's something between us that kind of holds us together. And so Aristotle says that this could be easily dissolvable. Like, thing in the middle that's holding us together ceases to be or goes away, then the likelihood of our friendship to keep on going is probably slim. It won't continue. The second kind of friendship that Aristotle talks about is a friendship of pleasure. And again, between us, there's this thing that holds us together, and that's what constitutes a friendship. So basically, it's, I like doing this thing with you, right? Together we find pleasure in doing this thing. This could be a soccer buddy, this could be a bar buddy, this could be a study buddy, this could be just somebody to keep you company. I'll give you an example on this one, right? So when I used to go clubbing, I don't do that no more. When I used to go clubbing, right, and we used to bump, now maybe you could definitely cut that part out. But when we used to go to the club, right, ain't nobody want to go to the club by themselves. Ain't nobody actually, a lot of people don't want to do anything by themselves. And so I would, you know, if the list of my friends that I would call to come with me were not available, there was usually like a third party, like a somebody that knew the somebody, but nobody really hung out with him, or that I didn't know him, or I know Joe and Joe knows him. I don't know him that much, but I know that he knows Joe, and that's enough for me to call him and be like, hey, bro, I'm going to the bar. I'm going to this place. You want to slide through? Just come with me. And that would satisfy me because at least I'm not by myself anymore, right? Nobody wants to be by themselves. That's a friendship of pleasure, that we're doing this activity together and our friendship is based on that activity. So when we stop with that activity, our friendship most likely is going to dissolve. Again, not that it's completely not a friendship, it just doesn't have that much substance, right? And the third one that he talks about is a friendship of virtue, or the perfect friendship. But the virtue friendship basically says, I see you, I love you for who you are, or I value you for who you are. It's independent on the pleasure that I get, the utility that I get. It's, I see you, right? So I'm gonna come through at your lows because it's independent of your mistakes. I see you. It's gonna be, I'm gonna be there in your highs because I wanna celebrate. I wanna add to that, right? So that's a friendship of virtue. Like, it's based on the person. Our friendship is not on this exterior third thing. I went on my Jamaican accent, my third thing. On the third, like in the outside thing, but it's a friendship that it's a friendship that we both recognize that we see something good in the other, right? And we both want to mutually elevate one another. And these friendships change your life. These friendships are real. In other words, so Aristotle calls them the friendship of virtue. You could just say, they the real ones. These are real ones. Like the triple O, double OGs, like the homies, like the, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me give you now personal examples, right? So I kind of alluded to this when I was talking about friendships of utility, but I think that's one that I think a lot of people could relate to. And also, I mean, both, honestly. So let me give you my personal example, right? So when I stopped clubbing, when I stopped smoking weed, when I stopped, staying up all night, there was a crowd of people that I used to hang out with, right? Friends, people that I used to call friends, people that I used to hang out with and do these activities with, right? These activities make it sound like, right? I used to do the, damn, bro, just say it, bro. Bro, I used to go to the club with him, bro. There was a lot of people that I used to do these things with, right? But once I stopped wanting to go to the bars, once I stopped smoking weed, once I stopped wanting to be out all night, guess what happened? Our friendship ceased to be. Our friendship just kind of crumbled apart. It no longer was a friendship, right? Or we just drifted. And we drifted precisely because our friendship was centered on this pleasure that we both derived from going to the club or smoking weed or just hanging out, or the utility that we gave each other, this mutual benefit, right? I guess this really came to the light, to the surface, when we tried hanging out, just doing something positive, right? Let's not go to the club. Let's not do this. Let's just go to the, for a walk. Let's go, grab breakfast or something like that and just talk over breakfast, and realizing like there's not much in common anymore. My mind has shifted. My desires has shifted. I wanted new things, I had new ambitions, new goals, and we just didn't align, right? So even when we tried, the foundation of the friendship was so much so that based on pleasure and utility that, we couldn't even make it happen, right? Because who we are is what essentially makes the friendship a perfect friendship or a real one, right? So, scripture talks about don't be misled, bad company corrupts good character. Like, that's facts. Who you hang out with definitely 100% affects and influences your thinking, your acting, what you don't do, what you do. So you got to pick your friends wisely. And you got to understand that helping you see this and make sense of this, it can set you free. And also just set you free and open something in your mind for you to really understand where you've been at and what you're really about, right? It says so much about you with the people that you hang out with, right? That's just facts. But speaking of which, Aristotle does say that, the friendship of virtue, it's going to be a limited circle, just because the nature of this type of friendship requires time, requires, commitment. And so you only got limited time, limited resources, that you can't possibly have 20, 100, virtuous friendships. It's going to be limited just by virtue of time, just by virtue of limited resources, right? And another key piece that I've really been reflecting, that he really got me thinking though. Look, it's so good I had to read this out loud so you guys can hear. This is page 221 if you got this personal copy. He talks about the wish to be friends can come about quickly, but friendship cannot. There's a lot of people who want to make friends and they make them overnight. Like, bruh, red flag. Not saying that it can't actually be. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you need to approach friendships with caution. Scripture talks about, testing the friend, seeing if this is actually verified. Like if it's actually legit, you got to know who you're dealing with, right? You got to know. Another biblical perspective that we could look at is that Jesus didn't just have followers. He had friends. He called them friends. He laid down his life for his friends. And that's what he invites us to do. You see, I feel like I've only been able to be a friend the closer I've gone in friendship with God. The more that I'm able to do that, the more I actually can be a friend. And here's the last quote. If you want a friend, be a friend. So here's my questions for you to consider. Who in your life is helping you to grow? Who in your life is actually helping you to grow? Who in your life you know you gotta let go of? Who in your life you know you gotta let go of? But let's make this personal. Are you a good friend yourself? Or are you just being a friend of utility, a friend of pleasure? So look, so you might be thinking to yourself like, dang, I might only actually have 2 real friends. But you know what? That's okay, because it ain't about quantity. It's about quality. It's about character. It's about character, you guys. And if you don't have those type of friends yet, then be one yourself first. Become that. So here's my last piece that I'm gonna leave you with. Maybe this is your sign. Like for real, maybe this is your sign to have that tough conversation with your friends. Or for you to have that tough conversation with yourself to really see like who really are my friends, who really with me in this, right? Bro, if this was of any value, maybe share this with your friends, share this with your homie, right? So bro, do me a favor, share this with a real one. If you getting this, it's because you a real one. Here's a question, right? Somebody just asked. So at what point can I actually call somebody a friend if I'm not supposed to move super quickly and rush into calling them friends? Look, the bottom line is this, right? That life is unpredictable, right? And you gotta take it one day at a time. So what I've learned over this past 10 years as I've grown and come to a deeper understanding of what it means to actually be a friend is that life is gonna present opportunities of testing that you don't have to craft yourself. It's not like I'm gonna say, I'm gonna test him. I'm gonna put this test for my friend, see if he really a homie. Nah, life is already gonna do that for you. For example, like they demonstrate, they show, right? Or maybe you were absent at this get together and he badmouthed you, right? Like early on, you're gonna be able to discern and figure out like, is this somebody who I consider a friend when he's already doing things like that, right? Or the opposite, right? Something really good. Like early on, he could be one of the first ones in your life who could just be tell you like, hey bro, can I really talk to you? Can I tell you straight up what I really think? And just speaks truth and clarity in your life. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's somebody you should be saying like, now he's already proven, this person's already proving that they actually are a good friend. And then you reciprocate that, right? Because a friendship has to be reciprocated. It just can't be give. It's receive, give. It's like we breathe, right? You exhale, you inhale. Friendship, a relationship, right? So that's just, an introduction. There's so much more to say on this topic, but I'm trying to like that. Remember that meme from back in the day with the little, man, I don't even know, but something like a teaser, you know what I'm saying? Like, but yeah, look you guys, so if you want to tap in, interested in more in-depth analysis on this, drop on the comments what you interested, what questions came to mind, what you agree with, disagree, what you challenge me on, what you want to fight me on. Nah, I'm playing. Nah, but drop on the comments whatever question comes to mind. I look forward to answering those. You guys, Jesus Christ calls us his friends. That's first and foremost. If you're feeling lonely, you feeling like ain't nobody in your circle really that, he's the one. Tap in. Let's go.